He's right here.
Positively shocking.
I'm fine, thanks.
Calm down. Enemy spotted. Enemies have
Yeah,
been
boy.
wiped out.
What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, coming at you with some runway gameplay, and today we're going to be talking about melees. Another possible melee change coming down the road. Let's head over and check it out. So there was a post over on the Rogue Company Reddit page that does have a snapshot from Jared. This was posted by a ROCO board member, and it says here, Jared said, "I'm looking at melee weapons in a very near future release. I'm aware of their effect on the experience." So melees have kind of gone through a lot of ebbs and flows with Rogue Company, right? You know, whenever it was in closed beta, all the melees one-shot everybody, right? It doesn't matter if it was the baseball bat, if it was the throwing axe, it didn't matter. It was one-shotting everybody whenever you threw it. Then they decided that they wanted to add a perk in the game to kind of negate some of this damage called Toughen Up, which did kind of help, but you had to be aware of your HP and the fact that, like, if you're below a certain threshold, you're still getting one-shot. So it did something. It didn't really do enough, but it did something. Then they decided to combine Tenacity and Toughen Up into one perk to kind of negate explosive and melee thrown damage at the same time. Then they decided to go in there and rework a lot of the melees in the game, where some melees, you know, could still one-shot, but you had to upgrade them all the way. Or some had an increased lunge distance. Some, you know, you could two-tap someone by swinging these weapons. And they started to kind of develop an identity for those melee weapons at this point. Then they screwed up and opened the floodgates by allowing anybody to pick any melee weapon that they wanted to pick with weapon mastery, which was a terrible idea in my, like, weapon mastery as a whole is a bad idea in my opinion, but melee weapon mastery is a really bad idea, because if you're going to have one weapon that one-shot someone when you throw it, what do you think everybody is going to pick? So yes, I agree. There is a need in the future, in my opinion, for melees to get looked at, because I feel like there is somewhat of an identity created there for the melee weapons. I just don't think it's been explored enough. You know, I don't think there's enough variation. And I also don't think that, like, if you're going to have a melee one-shot someone, that's fine, but you have to do something in order to negate that, right? Whether it be the economy, whether it be like range on it, you know, anything like that. If you're going to throw something, it's going to pick up momentum, right? And it's going to start hitting harder, especially something that is heavier on one side, like an axe would be, or like, you know, a sledgehammer or something. So maybe it makes sense for it to not one-shot someone at close range, but maybe if they're 20 plus meters away, then it absolutely one-shot someone, because you would have that momentum gaining over time. Like, there's a lot of ways that they could go in there and tweak these weapons to make them still perform and function the way that they currently do, but make more sense overall. At the end of the day, here's my thoughts on melee weapons. Melee weapons one-shotting all of them was a problem, right? Melee weapons getting tweaked and changed the way that they did before weapon mastery, fine. It was fine. You knew what rogues had access to the weapons that could one-shot you, and you were aware. Once you got hit with a melee weapon, you were aware that they had the weapon and they upgraded that weapon, and it is absolutely devastating the battlefield. You knew that. Weapon mastery screwed all that up. If there's a mechanical way in the game to deny melees, then make all of them one-shot, in my opinion. If there's a way to block it, or to catch it, or to do some other fundamental thing in the game, mechanically speaking, to stop this from hitting you, and whenever you get hit with a melee, it's your fault and not the fact that, like, oh, they've got a cheap way of downing you, then make all of them one shot, make all of them do max damage, you know, 300 damage or whatever you want them to do, and just make them completely ignore armor. Like, do that. If you want them all to one shot, if you want them all to be impactful on the battlefield. If you can't put a mechanical way in the game and some type of a way to stop these from hitting you yourself, because you can't roll from them. You can't really dodge them because the latency for the server is so bad right now that by the time it's flying at you and you see it and you try to react to it, yes, you may react to it on your screen, but on their screen and on the server, you're not moving yet. That's why whenever you get hit with a melee and you roll and you make some weird movement, that's the server trying to keep up with your inputs at that particular moment. You know what I mean? Like if you roll at the moment that the melee weapon is thrown on your screen and it's already been thrown on their screen, and that roll is going to put you like on top of something or behind something, then there's going to be some weird interactions happen with that. And that's the latency for the server. But yeah, until they get the latency of the server figured out and give us some type of a mechanical way for you to like deny these melees from coming at you, whether it be a block, whether it be some other type of way, you know, to catch it or do something else, punch it out of the air. I don't know. Just give me something. Then I think that they really need to be looked at, really need to be adjusted, and more identity needs to be granted to these things. If they can give us a mechanical way to stop this from happening, then open the floodgates back up, make them all one hits, and have fun with it. You know, there's nothing that I would like more than to catch an axe that a lancer throws at me out of the air and then throw it right back at her and down her. That would make me so incredibly happy that I would just not even be able to contain myself. But I don't think that's going to happen. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. What would you like done with melees? Do you think melee should one-shot all of them? Like all the melees should one-shot people and down them? Do you think that this is something that could be like easily rectified, you know, once the developers start looking at everything? Or do you think that this is going to be more of a lengthy process of like fleshing out different things and trying different things? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, be sure to check that description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays from 8 until 11 p.m. Central Time, Sundays from 10 a.m. until we get tired, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you're interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys.